Hey there, I'm DroganX, jungler of Vault Gaming. Thanks for checking out this video. I'll be discussing the way I like to play Hecarim, the Shadow of War. Hecarim is my absolute favorite of all champions. He has a blend of both magical and physical damage, so he can be difficult to counter. He does most of his damage over a longer period of time and defeats his opponent while chasing them down or by outlasting them. He has natural tankiness and is useful at all points of the game for his crowd control and initiation abilities. Enough for introductions. Let's get into the meat of the subject, starting with runes and masteries. As a jungler, having a balanced set of runes is vital. With this in mind, I choose armor penetration marks, armor seals, and magic resistance glyphs. I choose scaling magic resist, but flat can work too. Finally, I round out the page with move speed quintessences. As for masteries, I use a hybrid build that grabs weapon expertise in offense, relentless and veteran scars in defense, and runic affinity in utility. Moving on to skill order, you want to level up Rampage as quickly as possible for damaging ganks and jungle clear. From there, your Spirit of Dread increases your sustain in the jungle and tankiness in a battle, whereas Devastating Charge will provide more utility through mobility and more frequent uptime of knockbacks. I usually tend towards Spirit of Dread. Time for items. As a jungler and tank, you really need to be able to gear to counter, so your build and build order will vary every game according to your team, your enemy's team, and your income. A basic build is starting with Hunter's Machete and 5 health potions. From there, prioritize Spirit Stone as fast as possible. After that, your next purchase should be Boots. What to build from there depends on the case at hand. I usually build Spirit of the Ancient Golem and Boots of Swiftness, or Ninja Tabi if the top isn't a tank. Next, you want to build towards Sunfire Cape for defense, or Trinity Force for tons of damage. If you're the only tank for your team, I suggest building Iceborne Gauntlets instead of Trinity Force. Now you just need magic resist. There's an offensive option through Maul of Malmortius and a defensive option through Spirit Visage. You can get both if you're up against an AP heavy team. Randuin's Omen is a strong AD counter. For damage, my favorite go-to is Black Cleaver. I know you guys came here for more than just some smooth talking and gearing tips. You want to learn how to optimize your gameplay as the Shadow of War, am I right? Well, you came to the right place. Starting out in the jungle, you want to spam Rampage whenever it's available. At level 2, you want to get your Spirit of Dread, unless you're afraid that your second buff camp is in jeopardy, in which case you should pick Devastating Charge to get there as soon as possible. You can start either Ancient Golem or Elder Lizard, depending on if you're being invaded or want to gank a specific lane. An important tactic to use as Hecarim is to build up the stacks of your Rampage before using Spirit of Dread, in order to get the most uses of Rampage in during the Spirit of Dread's duration. Another trick is to use Smite during Spirit of Dread for high instant healing. When making ganks, Hecarim doesn't have a hard gap closer. Because of this, it's very encouraged that your laners don't push their lanes, so you can ambush the enemy from behind. The key to Hecarim ganks is proper use of Devastating Charge. As the only form of crowd control Hecarim provides before level 6, it's important to knock your victim toward your tower and lane ally, and hopefully before they flash. Devastating Charge counts as an auto attack, so your red buff will be applied. From there, focus on attacking to keep the red active, and spam Rampage whenever it's available. Spilling into the late game, you have several uses for your ultimate, Onslaught of Shadows. It can be an incredible flanking weapon, an unstoppable initiation tool, and a reliable escape mechanism. If you gank the lane and they get away by the skin of their teeth, you can use your ultimate to deal high damage, briefly fear them, and close the gap. It works 60% of the time, every time. Alternatively, you can use it while in the middle of a fight at a close range when they least expect it, to keep the target within an arm's reach just that much longer. While as much more as I have to say, I promised I'd keep this video as brief as possible. If you have any further questions, feel free to comment. I'll be happy to reply. If you enjoyed this guide, please remember to like it and subscribe to us, Vault Gaming. I hope you use this guide the next time you bring the Shadow of War to the fields of justice. Thanks again for viewing, and remember, if you have a choice between CS and Harass, take the CS. Bye.